So, speaking of things that are very interesting, that's kind of taken a turn into a new direction, we've got some information here about Blizzard. So, at BlizzCon 2023, the developer lays out their own Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, sitting in the press room, watching the BlizzCon 2023 opening ceremony this year as returning Warcraft Executive Chief Director Chris Metzen take the stage to reveal the next three World of Warcraft expansions. I was reminded of Marvel's Kevin Feige announcing entire new slates of movies coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe at Comic-Con. This level of transparency is rare in the video game world. Tell me about it. And it wasn't just Metzen's Warcraft team embracing it either. For Overwatch 2, director Aaron Keller announced not only one new hero, Maga, but also the next hero, Venture, and even the concept for the hero after that, codenamed Space Ranger. During the Diablo 4 segment, the team teased the first expansion, Vessel of Hatred, just 6 months after the launch of the base game. Hearthstone was demoing a co-op duos mode on the showroom floor months before a proper 2024 launch, and World of Warcraft announced the next three expansions as part of the newly christened World Soul Saga. Across all of Blizzard's main existing properties, the devs have pursued a strategy of transparency, it seems. Beyond just announcing the next big thing, they shared details on things that are some way off, even if they were in incredibly early states like Overwatch 2's third announced hero, who doesn't have an official name yet. It's a radical departure from the shroud of secrecy that usually envelops the game industry. Yes, 100%, says World of Warcraft executive Holly Longdale, when asked whether this transparency is a new company initiative. During an interview with IGN at BlizzCon, Longdale tells us, at the end of the day, we exist because of the communities we have, and our fans are so dedicated, as you've probably seen here at BlizzCon. They just want information. They just want to know what we're doing and what's going on. Recent years, the Blizzard name has seen some of its sheen wear off. From the diminishing review scores of the last couple World of Warcraft expansions to Overwatch 2's community backlash over the high-profile public cancellation of a previously announced PvE hero mode, questions have been raised over whether or not Blizzard was still committed to, quote, the Blizzard way, a standard of quality control that rivals only Nintendo's. Video games is an industry built on secrets and hype. Look at the website formerly known as Twitter, and you'll find anonymous accounts online that gain huge followings because they claim to know about some unannounced secret, like a Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer that never comes, preying on the starved masses desperate for any news from their favorite game studios. But secrecy can be a double-edged sword, and the backlash to unchecked hype can be ferocious. Look at Cyberpunk 2077's original launch, which promised so much and delivered a fraction of what CD Projekt Red claimed would be in the game. Following that mess, CD Projekt Red also took a 180, embracing a clear-eyed approach to marketing by being more open about what to expect from the studio, including announcing multiple new projects like a Witcher sequel and spin-off, and promising to be more honest about what players should expect from each new game. Blizzard is possibly even more vulnerable to the consequences of failed communications because of all the live games the studio operates, and silence could signal to a fan base who've grown up playing its games that the developers do not care about the health of its community and only the profits they generate. At the same time, keeping cards close to the chest can be beneficial to developers given how making games is often messy and imperfect. This new level of transparency can have consequences. We can lower the cone of uncertainty of what our roadmap is going to be. I think the worst case scenario was if we did communicate some really incredible plans and we weren't able to actually deliver on those because we had to pivot for whatever reason to work on other things, says Diablo 4 production director Tiffany Watt, not intentionally referencing Overwatch 2's canned PvE hero mode, but certainly something that came to mind during our interview. There absolutely needs to be a healthy boundary between what players want and what developers envision for their game. But at the same time, that relationship doesn't necessarily have to be antagonistic. What's clear is that the move towards transparency appears to have predated the news that Xbox has successfully acquired Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. Instead, this new style of messaging is something Blizzard approached organically after years of faux pas, like asking audience members whether or not they have phones to play games like Diablo Immortal. For now, however, the transparency appears to be something embraced by all teams at the company, from Overwatch 2 to Warcraft. It was a little while ago, but really the philosophy shift really started back for us in, I would say, around the Shadowlands era, reveals WoW Associate Game Director Morgan Day, who says the team took a huge step back following the launch of Shadowlands to reassess how they'd communicate with their players. It feels partially like a new chapter for Blizzard after years of being lost in the wilderness. Warcraft General Manager John Haidt tells me that it could be even considered a reboot for the developers, saying, I think we have moved, at least for Warcraft, I think we've moved from being very product centric, where we think of this game, to very player centric. While I understand the unique circumstances behind secretive game reveals, from carefully planned marketing plans to, again, the unpredictable nature of game development, I've often wondered what would happen if game reveals were treated more like movies, where roadmaps could resemble an entire MCU phase when they're announced. Now we finally see a version of that from Blizzard. Time will tell whether this approach can work for video games the way it does for films, but Blizzard is certainly embracing a new direction for itself, right as it's about to begin possibly one of the biggest changes the company has ever faced since merging with Activision in 2008. So this is very interesting. The fact that Blizzard actually got up there and opened the door, a little peek behind the curtain here. And, I've never had to deal with anybody or anything quite like Blizzard before, but dealing with developers and game studios and things like that, it all seems to mirror the same. The developers seem to think that if they keep everything as close to the chest and as closed off as humanly possible, that it's going to not only inspire some level of hype and some level of FOMO, but also it's going to reduce expectations of the community. Is that the kind of relationship that any developer for anything wants to have with its consumers? What do you think, Dirt?
No.
I mean, how? You know what I'm like? How do they think that this is, how do game developers think that keeping things as close to the chest and leaving their community in the dark, how do they see that as a good thing?
It always feels like they're like, we know what's best
Yes.
for you, the people that pay to play the game. It always feels that way, no matter what game.
Yeah.
It really does.
They're like, we want your feedback, but fuck your feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Because we didn't like it.
Yeah.
Not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah. And also,
Why'd you ask?
yeah. And also with that point, it's like, if you're creating a game as a service market, so like free to play games with battle passes and things like that, you would think that the idea would be more open with the community, because like these people are actively keeping your game alive right now. Why are so many developers just in this thought process, this archaic 2000 thought process of, we're going to keep it close to the chest, we're not going to say anything about it, we're not going to leak anything, we're not going to inspire any hype, we're not going to inspire this, that, and the other. And they go into that in the article. CD Projekt Red, what was that space game? No Man's Sky. They promised all of this stuff and they weren't able to deliver on any of that stuff. When, okay, if I promise to build somebody a house, right? Let's look at it this way. If I promise to build somebody a house in 2 months and I run into a labor shortage or a material shortage, am I going to wait until 2 months and 1 day after that project's supposed to be done before I tell the people that are paying me to build their house?
Only if you're an asshole.
So why do game developers feel like they can do that?
Because they feel like they know what's best. They don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're just the people that play the games.
And spend the money, and make videos, make content, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the ones that are out here doing the legwork for you. and you're going to just be quiet and not talk to anybody about anything?
Like, well, the numbers.
Yeah. Fuck
They
the
don't
numbers.
lie.
Fuck the numbers.
It's wild.
Maybe they don't like. Maybe they don't like being told what to do.
Well, that's the
And then,
thing,
like
though.
when people
They
come
get
up with good ideas,
butthurt.
they're like, "Oh, bull." Exactly. They're,
That's what it is.
They actually had a good
It's like a
idea.
personal attack
Yeah.
on them or something.
Yeah.
So that
It's like, no.
exactly because it's like, well, you didn't like our idea. It's like, well,
No.
no.
Here's why.
Just like you don't like our idea, apparently.
Yeah. And we've experienced this firsthand, right? Because we've seen, games that we've played in the past that we continue to play where the developers have something that they think is a really cool, nifty idea. And then whenever it's announced and released, the player base just full rejects it. And whenever that happens, those developers crawl back into that little hole that they sleazed out of, and they don't say anything else about it. Anything else about anything that has anything to do with the game. Whether that be their decision or the decision of a higher up forcing that decision down, like they slink back in their hole. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. You wanted to be a game developer. You have to answer to people. More importantly, you have to answer to the people that are playing the game. So, like, what's more important here?
Feedback's huge.
Yes. That's why when we were talking,
literally ask for it's literally in any time that they give you like those little things, it's like, how did you think? How was your battle experience? How was your gaming experience? Like, do y'all not check that shit?
no.
When y'all put that in y'all's games, like, what's the point of having that in y'all's games if y'all don't check them?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make. Yeah, it's stupid. Like, again.
Yeah. And
we don't know what we're talking about.
Like, look, I think that Nintendo has done a very good job. Going back to Nintendo, they've done a very good job about, hey, we're working on a project. And you're not going to hear anything about the project until 2 months before it's ready to release, right? And here's what the product has in it. Here's what you can expect from the product. Here's all the things that the product can do. This is what is going to be shipped to your door. It's done. They're making the box for it now. They're packaging it wherever they're packaging it at. They're shipping it to retailers as we speak. It's done. It's ready to release. Like, they've done a good job at that. They've done a good job at like not getting people's hopes up, but communicating the right information to their player base. And it's interesting whenever you see a company the size of Blizzard come out and start to communicate that same information. I know Nintendo games aren't necessarily games as a service, and they don't have that type of format to them, but they've done a good job at communicating. And at the end of the day, if I'm hyped for a new game to come out, and I don't hear anything from the developers other than what I've been hearing from them for the past 2 years about this game's going to have this, and this in it. And when I buy that game, it doesn't have this in it. I'm going to be upset. So just tell the player base what to expect at launch, what's in the pipeline, what you're currently working on, and what you're building towards. There's nothing wrong with that.
I miss the roadmap.
I do too.
Like, where's the roadmap?
Yeah. What can we expect
They don't
over
like
the
to
next?
do that anymore. They're like, no, because shit might change. It's like, well, that's fine if it does a change. I mean, you update the roadmap.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
yeah.
You remember when
some people
Nintendo
that
got
actually have
hacked
roadmap. Overwatch 2 has.
and they got all that, like terabytes of information,
Yes.
and none of that stuff ever saw the light of day. And there was a ton of games.
Yes. Yep. I don't know, man. Like, I really hope that this inspires a new direction for game studios, whether it be the smallest of the small studio or the biggest of the big studio. Like, I really hope that this inspires people to do the right choice. It sucks whenever your player base is in the dark, there's no communications on social media or anything like that, and then people that you hand pick to be part of a creator program or a part of whatever, they're not getting information either. And whenever you ask for information, then you basically get told to shut the fuck up, and then you get gaslit There's something wrong there, you know? I mean, at the end of the day,
Give players something to be excited for.
yes. Exactly. Give the player something to be excited for, and like if you're going to do something and you can't do it for whatever reason, just tell everybody. Just tell everybody. Like,
Just say it, man.
communication.
It failed.
yeah,
We had an idea, it didn't work. We changed the TTK back. We're sorry.
yes. Like, just
We know that nobody asked for it to begin with. We're sorry.
yeah. How hard is it?
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're sorry.
They're like, what? No.
Yeah. Oh, people didn't like this? What?
Don't get
No
mad
way.
Yeah.
and find another job.
Yeah. Yeah, for real, right? Jesus. This is what I've noticed, like being in a corporate environment, and this is where I'm going to leave this at. Being in a corporate environment, whenever you try to like better yourself, do better, become better, build yourself up to a reasonable and respectable position, it's hard. It's very hard to do that. But if you make enough mistakes, you will get promoted to the leader of a company. And it blows my mind in a corporate world how people continue to fail upwards.
I think it's saying yes a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wiping their mouth, saying yes.
Yes.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. I just, yeah, it's hard. You know, it's hard it's hard to respect jobs like that. It's hard to respect people that get put in those positions.